Hey guys, can everyone hear me okay? Can't see the chat today, so how's everyone doing? This is Nick from forexfornoobs.com, as most of you know. And in today's analysis, we are going to be, well, actually, first we should start with today is Thursday, the 6th of June 2019. Time is 11:03 a.m. here in the UK. You're looking at a GBP AUD daily chart. In today's analysis, we're going to be looking for price action setups across all of these pairs. Sorry guys, I'm managing like a million things right now. Everything's just gone disaster mode with my plans for today. And I'm like just incredibly busy. So I was just a bit distracted by my phone there, which, as you guys know, that's not normal for me. It's not like I'm on my phone through a webinar, but I'm just dealing with something very, very important right now. More important than I usually have to deal with in my pretty laid back, chill life. So yeah, I'm just putting the phone away, so I'll not look at it anymore. And I'll just let the problem stew for a little bit while we do this webinar. And then I'll get back to it after. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. Let's get into it. On Tuesday I shared a trade on GBP AUD. That trade triggered for me. I'm in the trade. It's not going too well. I mean, it's not going bad. It's just not really doing much for me. It's a counter trend trade, so there's always a bit of element of risk when you're trading counter to the trend, but it is a very strong support area. So yeah, I still think there's a pretty good chance there. Euro USD, I can't remember, why did I mark this one as green? I honestly can't remember. Oh yeah, because some people were in this one still. Right. Price has dropped back down to the support area. I imagine most of you have exited it at that second resistance area. I don't think anyone's left in this one after it spiked up to that resistance area there. But I don't know. Price has dropped back down to support. I mean, I'll just keep it green and we'll review it next week. Euro CAD, this is another trade I shared on Tuesday. This is one I didn't enter. Seems to be going pretty well. Only the ones that I enter don't go well. For the past 2 weeks, that is a true statement. The ones I enter are the ones that don't go well. The ones I don't enter are the ones that really start taking off. It happens. That's just the reality of trading. AUD/USD was another trade I shared this one yesterday. Some people entered on the lower time frames, like the 4-hour, 6-hour, something like that. This one's also kind of going decent. It's not really at target yet, but I was waiting, honestly, for me personally, I was waiting for it to push further into resistance, but it never really pushed further in. It turned around quite early. So for those of you who are in it, just hold on to that one. AUD/JPY, I'm still looking for a potential short here on AUD/JPY. I'm looking for a short continuation. It's just spiked down now, and I'm considering entering pretty soon. So this would just be like a standard continuation trade. Price is broken below support. The problem with this continuation trade is price is going to be heading into major, major lows that it hasn't seen in a long time, excluding, of course, this anomaly that we got on January 3rd of this year. That was a bit of an anomaly there. But before that, it was all the way back in 2016. And then before that, was all the way back in 2012. So point is, it doesn't really hit these lows often. So trading a short continuation here is going to be quite risky. And that's why I'm hesitating to pull the trigger right now. I'm not really seeing much confidence from the bears, sellers. So I'm considering entering, but unless I see something from sellers that tells me things are going down, I might just stay out of this one. So what would those things be? What would convince me? Ideally, a new low beyond the open of this week. That would be fantastic. If we get a new low, that'd be awesome. But then I would have to enter on a bit of a retrace. So a low, then a slight pullback to give me a better entry. So we're just going to see how this one plays out. I'll keep a close eye on it, but I'm not entering this one yet. I'm possibly going to enter soon if it continues to fall down. I am considering entering soon. And when I say soon, I mean, you know, below this low. So that's soon because, you know, it's not that far away. And it did just spike down this morning. So that could be happening pretty soon. Gold spiking up to resistance. I'm not doing anything with that right now. It's obviously hit resistance and pulled away quite fast. I'm looking for a push back up to resistance. If it starts stalling out, I'll consider a long, but it's unlikely. It's looking less and less likely that it's going to stall out. It looks like this is going to be a pretty big uptrend. So ideally, I'd want to trade a continuation, but it's not close to happening. So let's just skip that for now. New Zealand CHF. I shared a potential trade here yesterday, which has yet to trigger, but is kind of getting close on probably the 8 hour. It's looking decent on the 8 hour. So what I want to see is I want to see price stalling out here on resistance and then dropping back down. Yeah, it would be just a classic kind of reversal setup. So the setup would go something like this. Let's say we take this on the 8 hour. Let's pretend that this 8 hour candle is going to close exactly as it looks like now. Just because that allows us to set our entry target and stop. Do something like this, just roughly. Entry around about 0.6578. Stop loss about 0.6605 and target around about 0.6533. So that's a decent risk to reward ratio. I'd prefer a better risk to reward ratio, but I want to have a nice wide stop in there. When it hits this bottom here where it's bounced away from twice, I would be looking to potentially extend my target just depending on how the momentum going into to that bottom. Euro JPY. Oh yeah, I was looking for a spike back up to resistance. It never quite made it. It got close, but then it fell back down. So this one's not happening for now. CAD JPY has pushed back up to resistance. Looks like we might see a short continuation here. Similar situation to what was it, AUD JPY. So there is a potential short continuation to be taken here. This one you have a little bit more leeway. I'm not entering yet because I was wanting a spike further up. It didn't really reach as high as I wanted it to. A lot of these yesterday didn't reach as high as I wanted to see. I wanted it to push up into resistance, then stall, and then push down. So I'm still going to wait and watch for that. GBP USD, price has hit resistance. I was looking for a potential short from here, but that is not happening right now. That upper wick was way too high, making the stop loss just incredibly difficult to place. Well, not difficult, just making the stop way too wide. So if I wanted to enter a short here, something like this, it would be a huge stop loss and a tiny target. So I just don't really see much potential to take a trade here anymore. So this one's off. USD CAD, I was waiting for price to fall into support and stall out, which it did on the smaller time frames. Did anyone enter this one? It was a long on the 8 hour. A lot of these trades were shared in yesterday's analysis, which was a members only analysis. So to those of you who are confused as to why you missed a lot of these, it's because it was a members only analysis. Is anyone who's in the room in on this USD CAD trade? Doesn't look like it. I'm going to assume that at least someone's entered this one, because it was a pretty good looking trade on the 8 hour. And I did share it in yesterday's analysis, so I'm assuming someone entered this one. So I will mark it as green just so we can keep an eye on it. So I've already looked at all the other pairs, and there's nothing forming on the rest of these pairs. I did a kind of pre-analysis today because I knew I would have some very limited time. So let's wrap this one up, guys. Let's wrap this one up. We'll just do a quick review of the currently open trades. I'm currently long on GBP AUD. On the daily chart is where I've taken my long. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for price to push up to here. Well, my initial target's going to be 1.5 as it usually is. But because this is such a strong support area, I'm looking for it to move further. But yeah, my initial target's at 1.5. What I have right now on my actual trading platform is I have my target at 2 and I have an alarm set at 1.4 R, which is roughly here. So I have an alarm set at the 1.8327, roughly there. That way, when price hits the alarm, I'll be able to check in on my charts and see if I want to close out that trade or if we're getting a lot of momentum and I want to keep it open. It's unlikely that we're going to see a lot of momentum. We're already not seeing much momentum, so I don't think that's going to happen. But hey, if it does happen, my alarm will ring. I'll check my charts, and I'll decide if I should stay in, if I should close out at 1.5 and just see how it goes. Right, Euro CAD, I'm not in on this one. Some people are in on this one, I believe. It looks like it's moving down, so yeah, just hold on to it. AUD USD, I'm not in on this one. Some people are in on this one. Looks like it's moving down, keep it open. USD CAD, again, not in on this one. I'm like the opposite of King Midas the last 2 weeks. You know, King Midas, everything he touches turns to gold. Everything I touch costs me gold. The trades I skip are the ones that just start taking off and making profit. The ones I get in just fizzle out and do nothing. I get those kinds of weeks sometimes. And usually what I'll do is I'll track all that stuff in my trading journal. And if I have a string of those kinds of weeks where, and it doesn't necessarily mean like every single trade I take doesn't work out well. It just means that if I start to notice the majority of trades I'm taking are not working out, but I'm also spotting trades that I skip that are working out, right? So if that's happening for like 5-6 weeks in a row and my results aren't where I want them to be, I'm collecting that data in my trading journal. As I showed you guys yesterday, the example trading journal in the webinar, I'm collecting that information in my trading journal, and then I'll take that information, I'll study the data, and I'll try to figure out if I'm not seeing something, if I'm doing something wrong, something like that. And if I need to make slight changes to adjust to current market conditions. because market conditions are always changing. So I might need to make changes to adjust to those market conditions. Right now, it was last week that that didn't go too well for me because I skipped a few of the good trades and I took the bad trades. This week so far is not shaping up how I want it to shape up. I haven't caught many trades. It's already Thursday. GPAD is not doing much for me. All the other trades I spotted are doing super good. Well, not all, but most are starting to take off and are doing good. So it's not really a problem right now. I do make jokes about it, but I really don't care much about it at the moment. But if this were to continue for another 2 or 3 weeks, then I would stop and I would reassess and try to figure out what is happening based on the data I've gathered. So it's another way. I know some of you might be thinking, who weren't in the webinar last night, this is way off subject for an analysis session, but it links back to the webinar I did last night, where I talked about the importance of keeping a trading journal. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because in that webinar last night, I showed you guys something that you could use your trading journal for, and I said that this is just scratching the surface. A trading journal has a lot more uses, and this is one of the other uses. When you're hitting a bit of a bad streak, it could be simply because statistically you're always going to hit some bad streaks here and there, or it could be that the markets have changed a little bit and you need to readjust, and your trading journal allows you to figure out what's going on. So all of this stuff's being recorded in my trading journal, and I'll look at the figures, I'll look at the numbers, and I'll figure out if everything's going according to plan or not. Anyway, Euro USD, we already talked about this one. I'm not in this one. Some people still are, maybe, but I imagine most people have closed this one out. So if anyone's still in it, just let me know and we'll keep track of it. But yeah, I imagine almost everyone closed out because it spiked up to that second resistance area. So AUD JPY, I'm still looking for a short here. Still looking for a short. But what I'm thinking right now is that I'd want to do something like this for a short. Now, I know you might be thinking, well, that's a pretty wide stop loss and that target is pretty bad. But what I would do is I would enter on a bit of a pullback. So I would wait for this low to be broken here. What's going on? There we go. This low to be broken. Then I'd wait for a bit of a pullback for my entry. That's how I would do it. So let's say my entry would be more like there. Then we'd start to see some better numbers. That's actually not that great in terms of risk to reward ratio. But the point is, I want to see. Oops. I want to see a new low at this point because I'm just not confident that sellers are going to take control here. For gold, I just want to see it pop up to this resistance area, stall out, kind of like it did here. Similar to that. That's what I want to see. I want to see price push up, stall, and then turn around. New Zealand CHF, we're already starting to see signs on the 8-hour of price stalling out. If price stalls out on the 8-hour, I'll be looking for a short from this resistance area here with a target around about down here, but depending on momentum, I'll look to extend that target. CAD JPY is pushing up to resistance. I just want it to push further into resistance and stall out there. It's turned around early, but I don't want to enter this early. I want it to push further into resistance for a potential short. And yeah, USD CHF, actually this one we're going to strike off from this list. And that's it for the analysis, guys. There's a bunch of open trades. I'm in one of them, and there's some potentials happening here. Thanks, Graham. So we're going to wrap this one up, guys. I'm going to wrap this webinar up. I'm going to get back to dealing with my disaster situation that arose just before this webinar, unfortunately. Thank you guys for attending, and I'll see you all on the forum. And thank you. I will definitely enjoy my my little break. So thank you guys, and I'll see you later.